It's National Sprinkler Awareness Week, and we are here today talking to Derbyshire's Chief Fire Officer and the NFCC Sprinkler Lead, Terry McDermott. Terry, can you tell me a little bit about why you're doing this campaign?
Yeah, National Fire Chiefs Council have recently updated their position statements on the use of sprinklers. And what we're saying through the National Fire Chiefs Council is we'd like to see the wider use of sprinklers in the built environment. We feel there are a number of priority areas that need to be looked at, high-rise buildings in particular, educational premises, schools, warehousing is another area that we would like to be looked at, and also what we call specialised housing, which is housing for elderly, vulnerable people in society, where it's being built as a new project.
Can you tell me a little bit about the advantages to having sprinklers in those properties that you've just talked about?
Yes, I can. Over recent years, the National Fire Chiefs Council, the National Sprinkler Network and a number of other partners, including BAFSA, have compiled some research, had some research undertaken into the reliability and effectiveness of sprinklers. And what that did, it looked at 2,294 fires, real fires in real buildings, where sprinklers were fitted. And it wanted to answer two questions. Firstly, are sprinklers reliable? So do they go off? And secondly, are they effective? So if they do go off, do they control or extinguish the fire? So 2,294 fires, and remember these are real fires in buildings that have got all kinds of different furniture in, different groups of people living in them, different shapes and sizes and uses of buildings, a complete mixture. What the research showed in terms of reliability is that the sprinklers operate on 94% of the occasions, regardless of the use and the type of building. And when they do operate, they are effective at controlling or extinguishing the fire on 99% of occasions. So, in answer to your question, are they any good? Are they reliable and effective? Well, yes, I think they're incredibly reliable and incredibly effective across a whole range of incident types. And I must stress again, these are real fires, not fire engineering calculations or assumptions made in research establishments. These are actual fires that firefighters have been to, extinguished and completed fire reports looking at the damage, the fire spread, number of sprinklers that have operated, etc.
For those people that are considering putting sprinklers, whether it be in domestic premises or in other housing or buildings, are they expensive?
Well, it depends what your view of expensive is. Yes, they do cost money. They do cost money to fit. It's an additional cost on the build of a property. But if you look over the lifetime of the building, and if in the event of a fire, how effective they are at reducing damage, you can have a think about costs in a different way. So, for instance, in high-rise buildings, I've heard costs quoted of around between £1,000 a flat or £2,000 a flat. This is for retrofitting of sprinklers. And I suppose it depends really on each case by case what the impact is on the residents and the amount of work that's involved to fit the sprinklers around people living in flats, as an example. But what I can say is that where sprinklers are fitted brand new from the outset, they're much, much cheaper. So our own experience in Derby, for instance, where we had a number of houses fitted with sprinklers in the city, they were coming in at under £1,000 a house at new build. So very, very cost effective really when you look at it that way. Another analogy that's been given is around sort of like schools, and the phrase has been given out that you can fit sprinklers for the same kind of costs you would have if you were fitting carpets in the school. So it's all relative. Are they cost effective over the lifetime of the building? I think they are, absolutely, on a personal level, and I think the mitigating disruption to business, damage to properties and ultimately saving life, yes, they are cost effective.
You just mentioned saving lives there, and you've also mentioned the trials that have taken place. How effective would you say sprinklers are at saving lives?
Well, research again shows us that they're incredibly effective. It hardly ever happens that people die in buildings that are fitted with sprinklers where there's a fire. It's very, very, very rare. The world over, that's not just the UK, the world over, it's very, very rare. Particularly accidental fires, you know, it's almost non-existent really. It does happen now and again, but compared to normal rates of fire deaths, where in the UK we might get between 300 or 400 fire deaths a year, very, very rare, hardly ever happens that you get fire deaths in sprinkled buildings.
There's a lot of information being shared during the Sprinkler Awareness Week. If somebody is interested in knowing more about sprinklers and how they can get involved, where can they go for more information?
Okay, they can visit the local Fire and Rescue Service website, who will be supporting National Sprinkler Week. They can look on the social media feeds from the local Fire and Rescue Services, or you can go straight to the National Fire Chiefs Council website, who will be supporting obviously with a media campaign around National Sprinkler Week.
Brilliant. Thank you, Terry.
Thank you.